Okay, welcome to another edition. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at the first mover advantage, and this is very very important for anybody that is a developer. Even if you are a realtor, you are into real estate, or you are a private investor that just want to move and buy real estate in any form. Okay, there is something that is called the first mover advantage, and this um, is a thought that came to my mind of recent, and what gave birth to the thought was basically because of our hunt for a particular property location for time now, or some time as a real estate company, and I see a pattern that there were some people that have moved to the area that we want to move into, and in one way or the other, they already have the first mover advantage, and because of that too, we've enjoyed they enjoy some measure of leverage, they enjoy some measure of advantage, and they've enjoyed some measure of dominance. And I realized that it's the same thing we also have enjoyed over the years, but one for one reason or the other, for not being proactive or being relaxed or being too easy, we've we could not take advantage of that first mover advantage in that particular location. Okay, so today I'm going to be addressing what are those advantage when you move to an area for the very first time. Or I will be sharing some of our own personal stories and relating to private individuals and also to developers. Okay, my name still remains Okpe Oluwa Oni, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This will help this channel a lot, and it will also help you to get all our videos on a regular basis. Okay. One of the advantage, I'll start with this story, is that I remember a friend of mine many years ago was working with a particular company, and then there's a place called Ijoku in southwest Nigeria, and that place was selling for about 50,000 or 20,000 naira thereabout per plot. Yes, I think between 20 or 50,000 naira. I know it was not more than 50,000 naira then per plot, and he was working with a school sat while he was doing part time going to school. Uh, and he was so the way he was working, because it was a new company, all they promised them basic salary and also bonus. So at the end of the first year while he was working there, he was paid a bonus. And because he was still a student, and what I'm talking to you about now is almost like 20 years ago, and life was relatively not too expensive, right? So he took advantage of that. I think it was 20,000 naira. So he was able to buy, and the bonus that was even paid to him was more than his whole salary for the year. So he took advantage of that place. Somebody introduced him to a place in Ijoko, and he was able to buy some couple of plots there. And that plot, was able to meet with the Omonile and all of those things. And because nobody was buying, him going there to buy was like a breakthrough for the Omoniles that were in that axis, right? So in fact, he took advantage of that. So most of the time, when the Omonile guys called him, they needed money. So he was basically buying from the primary market. So he was not buying from the secondary market. So when they called him for one thing or the other, all he just do is that it's okay. See, can I buy one more plot? So your father died, you want to bury your father, no problem. Give me one more plot, I'll buy it for so amount. And because that's basically the only value those sellers had, they were just exchanging those assets for money. And the guy amassed so much land in that place. And as at the last time we discussed, I think a land there was selling for as much as 20 million naira, right? So he amassed so much. In fact, he built a house, built an hostel, built a school, built an event center, built a CPT center, he built hotel, built a lot of things. And all basically was doing is because he amassed so much land that when land started increasing in value, he was selling some to build, selling some to build. So he became one of the largest land selling individual that is not an indigene in that axis. Of course, yes, it comes with its own challenges and problem and all of those things, but the advantage is what we are going to be looking at in this video. So that's the first mover advantage. So also, I'll share another story before I start going into the points that I have for us today. I remember many years ago, someone close to me, a friend too, that he moved to a place around Lagos Ibadan Expressway, just after Arepo. There's a community there that he moved into. And when he moved into that community, the plot of land was selling for less than 500,000. In fact, he only bought that land because where he was working, there's like he had like a godmother that was that was looking after him and watching over him and all of those things. I told him, said, young man, you are making money now. Don't spend your money on frivolities. Why not buy a piece of land here? I mean, these guys are selling and all of those things. So he bought that piece of land for the reasons that Mama, stop disturbing me. That's the reason why he bought the piece of land, not because he planned to do anything with it. And to cut the long story short, down the line, that became one of the best decisions he ever took in his whole life, right? So those are advantage of first mover because he bought it for less than 500,000. But as at the last check, the plot of land there is over 20 million naira. Okay, so those are the advantage when it comes to moving first into an area. So I have itemized some points that I believe will help both developers and individuals that are moving into an area to be the first mover, to enjoy the first mover advantage. So advantage number one is that you dominate by buying en masse. Just like the story that I shared, you dominate by buying en masse. So you buy as many as possible. You buy as many as possible. So you dominate by buying en masse. That's advantage number one. Number two is because you buy cheap. You buy cheap because you are the first person to move into that community. You are invariably buying it at next to nothing. So you buy cheap. Okay. Advantage number three is that you control the narrative. Okay. Let me explain this a little bit further down. So, if for instance you are moving to a location called Igbo, for instance, let's say, or Itachi. That's the local name people call that place, and maybe it's called the value of the of the wretched. Because you are the first mover there, you have the opportunity to rename the narrative of that axis. Okay, take for instance now, there's a place in Lagos that used to be called Maroko, water flood happened, swipe the whole place away. But some people moved in after the whole water issue and all of those things, and they changed the narrative of the place. And today the place is called Lekki Phase 1, right? And it became the town of the wealthy. So the narrative changed. So you don't call it where the poor stays again. You now call it where what? Where the wealthy stays. So you have the opportunity to change the narrative. And you see, one of the disadvantages of the first mover is the fact that I remember we have a project now, sweet location. But the fundamental mistake we made on that project is because we were one of the first set of people to move into that area. In fact, we are still enjoying the first mover advantage till now. So we bought very cheap. And because we bought very cheap, we did not understand these steps. So we now started controlling the narrative of that place. Sorry, we couldn't control the narrative of that place. We were selling low. So the narrative of being a poor location was still affecting the project. So most of the people we even sold to were not able to take advantage or build that place because we sold cheap. Because we bought cheap, we sold cheap. Okay, don't ever make that mistake. Okay, so the next thing here is you set the benchmark in terms of rent, rates, and value. So it's part of controlling the narrative too. You are the one that set the benchmark in terms of the rate that area is going to be going for, in terms of the value that area is going to be commanding. You are the one that will be setting that benchmark. For instance, now if a place, um, um, let's say you bought a piece of land, a plot for let's say 100,000, and you bought air mass, maybe you bought like 1,000 acres, and you do a lot of publicity, and you can start selling it for 10 million naira. You are the one that will be controlling price. In fact, if your neighbors are selling bought the same rate and they are selling for 1 million naira, what and they are doing advert, they are going to be doing advert for you because you are creating value, adding value, controlling the narrative. In fact, they'll be telling you that yours is the other people that are selling for less is most likely they won't deliver. You are the one that will deliver. So that is the ability to control the narrative by setting rent standards and also setting return and value for the place. And also, this can apply to maybe housing estates. Okay, let me give you this example. There's a particular place around Agege. I mean, for those that knows Agege, they know that it's not a reflection of what or representation of what we call the eyebrow area in Lagos. And a particular guy bought a place that used to be a dump field, bought it as it was so, I mean, and he did a development in that place, and he started selling at a particular amount that nobody will sell in that area. The, and he started renting at a particular amount that nobody will rent in that area for an housing estate. People say, nobody will take it, nobody will do this, blah, 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 blah. But he created all the value that you'll probably get in an eyebrow area in that very particular place. And people became very, very comfortable buying it and renting it. And all of a sudden, all the rent within that same area was trying to catch up with the rent and the value that he has been able to create. So you control value, you control rent, and you control rates. So those are the advantage that you get when you are the first person to move in a particular area. Okay, so my name still remains Okpe Oluwa Oni. So I'll continue in the part 2 because we don't want this video to just be unnecessarily too long so that you can have time to watch it at a go. So we'll continue in part 2. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you can get the notification for the part 2 of this video. So go and play big, win big. But don't let anybody tell you that you cannot win big.